How's it going, you guys? Welcome to Morning Cup. Is rather prevalent of the disaster spectrums of things when it comes to human nature and humanity as a whole. We're talking about tsunamis. Now, tsunamis have a perspective to play, and as long as we cannot comprehend this perspective, we cannot get in front of it. So, to boil things down, there's a lot that you should know about the tsunamis, but a lot of the nations across the world have been struck by numerous tsunamis. And as recently as last week, there was a tsunami warning for New Zealand as well as Australia after a magnitude 9 earthquake hit the Pacific Ocean. And the epicenter luckily was further out at sea, thereby not inciting tsunami waves that made it all the way to shore. But had they made it to shore, were we prepared? No, by no speck of the imagination were we prepared as a civilization to endure the effects of a tsunami. And that dictates what we witness today. Now, Japan in the year 2011 faced one of the biggest tsunamis that was ever recorded on human history, stating that it was a 1 in 1,000 year event. Now, a tsunami the likes of the one that hit Japan in the year 2011 on March the 11th was by no means and by no expectations anything that would be taken lightly, but it was one that did a lot of damage. And in retaliation to which, Japan decided to build a bunch of seawalls. Now, the question arises when we understand the fact that do seawalls actually help? Can seawalls make the difference when we're talking about tsunamis? And can seawalls make all of the required changes that we might require as a species to make sure that the best of the best in terms of safety is available to us? But the questions still arise at the same proportionality values as they have always arose, and that is the fact that if seawalls don't help us, then what might help us? And the answer to that question is, well, rather devastating if you look at the bigger picture of things. You see, Japan built upwards of 400 kilometers of seawalls, if you will. Seawalls are ranged all the way 12 meters above sea level and 12 meters below sea level to create a foundation that wouldn't just be wiped clean if another tsunami hit. But numerous of these seawalls that were prevalent across the spectrum on numerous occasions prior to the 2011 tsunami were wiped clean as soon as the tsunami hit, thereby ascertaining even more claims as to whether this thing will even be beneficial, whether this is something that we as a civilization should put our hopes and prayers behind, whether we should invest in seawalls that costs millions if not billions of dollars to make competent enough to deal with waves as massive and as great of a threshold power as tsunamis possess. But another massive thing that we don't consider about seawalls is the fact that it strips communities, entire communities and villages that have depended on the sea for its resources, depended on the sea for their daily livelihoods for decades. And if we as a civilization step away from that and bridge that barrier dictating the fact that no one else needs to be reliant on the sea, that's never going to happen. Seawalls are doing exactly that. They're stripping oceanfront communities, oceanfront villages from their capability of going out to sea and harnessing daily foods, and not just food, but harnessing material from the sea that they can then take to market and sustain themselves by selling. You see, these communities that are seafront communities are entirely based on the fact that they can make a living based completely around the ocean. And no matter what the waves of the ocean might give to them in terms of tsunamis, in terms of devastation, the common unilateral approach towards the ocean is always going to be of gratitude in Japan. Japan is always going to be a nation that says good about the ocean rather than says bad about the ocean. Yes, there are times and there are places wherein the Japanese people are more heartbroken considering that they lost every single thing, and they're still going to be grateful and ever prevalently thankful for the ocean and everything that it has to offer because it has sustained their livelihood for decades on end. Now, another story that stands out is the story of Kamaishi, a story that's about an industrial plant and an industrial city, if you will, that was very prevalent up until the 1980s. And until the 1980s, it was one that dealt with numerous tsunamis that were a huge effect, not just to the region of Kamaishi, but also the rest of Japan as well, because all of the steel was founded in the region. They built seawalls. They did a massive undertaking in which it took 30 years to put together a seawall and a water break that was way out in the ocean. That was 63 meters deep, and a record that was held by it in the Guinness Book of Records as well. But what happened when the 2011 tsunami hit? Well, until the tsunami hit in 2011, we saw numerous people already leaving because the last industrial plant in Kamaishi was shut down in the 1980s. The population moved all the way away from Kamaishi itself. The tsunami that hit in 2011 wiped the rest of the breakwaters all the way through, thereby completely diminishing any and all requirements from a breakwater that was that deep and that expensive to maintain in the first place. But this is what happened next. The government and its officials made sure that they did a complete study as to what the breakwater's effects were exactly in the first place in the Kamaishi region. And they came to the conclusion that because of the seawall prevalence, it gave them valuable time. Upwards of 6 minutes of extra time was given to the people of Kamaishi to evacuate, and the person who was in charge of building the seawall dictated that his family would have died if it wasn't for the breakwaters. And the breakwaters that was constructed that far out into the ocean made all of the difference for them, because 6 minutes of time when you're escaping for your life, when you're leaving everything behind and just hauling, can either make or break your chances of survival. What we understand from this on a spectrum of things is the fact that an ocean can never be kept at bay. Any other form of trying to break away tsunamis before they make landfall will just be that attempts at trying to make sure that we survive as a species. But is it a guarantee? Is it a given? No, by no speck of the imagination is that a given. And for you and me as a regular people, and for the people of Japan, they knew this way before any more plans were put forth. But yet again, the government funded a $6 million plan to create even more breakthroughs there. You see, seawalls might hold certain grounds, might hold certain assertions towards protecting the people, but it's doing more harm to the communities that you and I can realize, because we're not a part of those communities. And if you talk to people of those communities, they'll be the first to tell you that we would much rather not have a seawall at all. You see, an early warning system for any tsunami is the fact that sea levels retreat. You can see stones and seabeds that you would have otherwise never seen, even in low tides. And this is an early warning system that is preemptive to humanity itself. It is nature giving you a warning of a tsunami encroaching. And the people of these villages were used to looking at these signs and then evacuating, knowing the fact that this can only mean one thing, that a tsunami is coming. But a seawall has replaced the coastline, and thereby barring the abilities of these regular people to then even embark on any such, well, reconnaissance missions, if you will. You would go up to your roof and you could look at the sea. If the sea was retreating, you would get out. Spread the word and everyone in your community would get out. Now you cannot even go to your roof and look at the sea, because the sea is completely barred from view because of the sea walls. You have to take an extra initiative and be completely dependent on early warning systems. But what if these early warning systems, for some reason, for whatever reason, fail to be activated in the right time? You're looking at a loss of life on the scale that you cannot comprehend, because you put all your eggs in one basket, and that is never a good idea when we're talking about the prevalence of humanity as a whole. In the year 2021, we understand the fact that there is a lot more chips on the table when we talk about technology that can benefit us as a whole. And if we look at all of these chips that are currently on the table, if we cannot then process the information that we can extract from these technologies, we are going to be going backwards, if you will. Back in the day, people never had access to these amounts of technology, but yet they still did everything in their power to stay preemptive about situations that they know were a given. Countries and island nations knew for a fact that they would be hit by tsunamis. Even Japan today understands the fact that this is by no means it, that it's going to be facing more tsunami threats in the future, and it might be just hit by another tsunami that's even bigger in scale than the one that hit it on March the 11th, 2011. And is it prepared? Well, some of the nation is, but other parts of the nation aren't. Are people willing to move away from their ancestral land that is near to the ocean? Well, there's a lot of backlash, but certain regions have understood that there is a reality to this, and if you don't move further uphill, if you don't leave the coastal areas, you will always be susceptible to being wiped out clean by the next tsunami wave. But that just then evolves as an understanding for humanity as a whole, is the fact that you and I can't just ignore and let go of certain facts when it comes to tsunamis. We have to understand that there is a bigger picture at play here, and if we don't be preemptive about our actions and our goals towards the future, towards protecting the civilization as a whole, well, there's nothing you can do. With that being said, we understand that there is a lot more to the world that we and I can just comprehend in one episode, in one news cycle, in one everything. You cannot read enough books, you cannot do enough research on the internet, and you cannot watch enough shows to teach you everything that the world has to offer against you. The only thing that you can do is stay updated with all the things that the world has to offer, and on that we guarantee you that you can stay tuned to this space, and we will do our best to make sure that you are updated with everything that the world is currently undergoing. With that being said, this has been your morning cup. I'll see you tomorrow.